I believe we are live. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our weekly interview series. Today, we have the pleasure of having a wonderful musician and composer and band leader and a friend of mine. I've known him for many, many years. Very tremendous trumpeter, all the way from Cuba, now living in Victoria, BC. The very wonderful Miguelito Valdes. Miguelito, thank you for joining us.
Muchas gracias. Thank you so much, man. Thank you. Thank you for
Yeah.
having me.
It
Yeah.
has been it's been a minute, and I consider myself very, very, very fortunate to be able to have played quite a bit of music with you over the years. And I'll say when I first met you, I didn't know anything about you, and as soon as I heard you play, I was completely blown away by your musicality, and music just effortlessly comes out of you. At least that's the way it seems. So
Well, thanks, man. Thanks. I would say it was interesting because I was probably the first time playing with the band. You were playing already with them for a bit.
yes.
I just show up and try to play, and I was hoping more like a Latin band, and we show up there, and it was like a Celtic band. What? What's
Yes, yes.
happening here?
Yes, we're of course talking about the Paperboys from Vancouver, BC.
Yeah,
Did a lot of playing and touring with them together
yeah.
over the
But
years.
it was great. Yeah.
Well, for those of you, I mean, many people now. I mean, you've lived here since you emigrated to the United States in 2006.
2006, I came to
Yes,
Vancouver.
yes.
Yeah.
And since moving here, I know you've made quite an impact in the music scene for recording and live performances, and as a sideman and doing your own stuff. And I know a lot of people are aware about your music already. But for those who are not aware about you and your music, can you talk a little bit about how you got started? I mean, where did you grow up in Cuba? Where did music
Sure,
begin for you?
sure. Well, first of all, what you said already, my name is Miguel Angel Valdes de la Hoz, but everybody know me as Miguelito Valdes. It's
Yeah,
like Miguel Jr. kind of
yeah,
thing. And I was born in Havana in 1974. I'm not afraid to say it. And let's say when I was like 5 or 6 or whatever, I picked up a little guitar, like a toy, pretending that I was singing, whatever, trying to sing songs like love songs to my brother's girlfriends, when I was little. So anyway, always fond of music. And then we got the opportunity in Cuba. You start music really early, so I got the chance to do an audition to get into the music school, and that was when I was 11 years old. You start in grade 6 for the instrument like trumpet, clarinet. I don't know. We call it like short career, and
yeah.
the long career would be something like violin or piano, or something more like deep like that. So my wife, for example, started when she was in third grade, and
Wow.
that's the thing that you go all the way to college with that, and then if you want to keep going to university, you have to do another audition. There's actually one audition in between to go to college. So you finish, let's say, high school, you do an audition, get to college, and then from college you have to do another audition to get into the university. So it's pretty tough. The competition is heavy. As many people may know already. If they don't know, I will tell you that in Cuba, a musician can make more money than a doctor or an engineer or somebody like a study like heavy, study
Yeah.
people. The thing is like we can travel outside the country, we can make money outside. We also work for tourist people, a lot of tips, a lot of so anyway, it is the way it is. So the
Yeah.
competition is pretty heavy if you want to be in the best bands, to be able to do all this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's my story. I started when I was 11. I'm
Yeah.
48 now, so I will be soon. So
Yeah. Did now you mentioned your brothers? Did anyone else in your family play? Your parents? Was there any
not
musical
really. That was
influences?
only
Or
my cousin. My cousin she's a piano player. She's a little older than me, but she was always in the classical kind of side of the music, right? Classical train. We all classical train anyway in Cuba. They don't teach you jazz or even Cuban music at the school. It's all like classical train, you know.
yeah.
But it's pretty heavy. You do like music all morning. Let's say you do solfege, history of music, harmony, all this theory about music. And then in the afternoon you do everything else like math, Spanish, whatever, history. Yeah.
Yeah.
So almost every day I was having a trumpet lesson, to be honest. So it's,
Yeah.
it's it's a lot better than here. Sometimes you see a teacher once a week or something like that, or or even in a program that they have at schools, you can see the teacher for an hour, but there's 20 people or 25, whatever, at the same time. You know what I mean? It's a lot
Yes.
different. Yeah.
Yes. Well, it sounds like a very rich level of education from a very early on.
Well, very early on, yeah, for sure it
Yeah.
is. Yeah, it is. Yeah, we learn how to listen and write the music, solfege, do all that stuff and
Yeah.
harmony a little bit, of course, and but all in the classical way. It's not like a going to any jazz school or anything like it.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
learn how to play jazz or Cuban music or any other kind of folk music outside,
Yeah.
of the school or
Yeah.
listening to recordings and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, as I mentioned, I mean, when I heard you play, I was completely blown away by your ability to play anything, and not just play anything, but play it incredibly well. And we've had this conversation a lot over the years about, you'll say, well, I'm the first person to tell you I'm not a jazz musician. And I say, that's ridiculous because you're just a tremendous musician. So
Well,
how did jazz start coming into your sphere of influence? When did you
yeah.
first start checking out jazz
Well,
and learning how to
to
play?
be honest, it was always there as a like when you start at school, you have your buddies, that listening. Some of them are more into jazz, and
Yeah.
of course you started listening to all that as well, right? Some of them take that line a little deeper and
Yeah.
starting to transcribe the solos, go a little deeper, learning the songs. I was a little bit exposed to that, of course, but my line was more into the traditional Cuban music, and that's what I started doing first. But
Yeah.
luckily, you start with a small band. We call it sextet or septet, depends on how many, of course. But it's only one trumpet. So this
Yeah.
guy had to do the intro, blow in the middle of the tune. There's a lot of solos in between the montuno, the chorus and all that.
Yeah.
Pretty lucky to play with guitar players. Sometimes the tone, the key that we were playing is like F sharp or things like that. They move the little thing in the guitar. They play
Yeah.
whatever, but you have to actually find it. So it created a little bit of that, response in my brain to react to whatever chord was sounding and try to play. You know what I mean? On top of that, I
Yes.
got many experience. I started when I was young. I would say like when I was 16, before finishing school yet. I started playing professionally with
Yeah.
some bands, and of course going to some descargas, like a jam. And I remember this little house in Old Havana. Man, everybody was older than me, of course, right? And and I was showing up there. Everybody was like amazing. This older guy, like I think he probably was like 70 years old or something like that, playing the guitar with only one finger over here, just going this way. But
Yeah.
the chords that he was using, it was amazing. So I was there with the mute, trying to catch. We call it like the movement of feeling
Mm.
movement. That was something that happened in Cuba at some point. So there was a lot of influence with jazz harmonies and Brazilian stuff and all that. They created all these boleros, but
Yeah.
with the heavy harmonics kind of thing. So I was trying to follow all those people, in a descarga. Of course, everybody drinking and having a good time, playing in a little house, like almost falling off, like because he has to wood hanging the ceiling kind of thing, and everybody's down there, like having a good time. So I
Yeah.
was exposed to that, and of course, after that, different kind of music.
Yeah.
But I tell you later about the recordings and everything that I did. That's something that happened after. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I'm curious too, what a lot of people, now, maybe some people have an idea, but we've talked about this quite a bit. Just being able to have access to things. Now, you're a little bit older than me, not by much. We're roughly the same age. I was
Yeah.
born in 1978, and I remember the internet coming in. Oh, the internet actually was invented when I was still in high school, but we didn't have like Spotify or all this stuff. There was no access to that. So
No,
just, I mean, in Cuba, just getting like instruments and things of that nature could be kind of a problem. Is that true? Just
it was always, yeah. So let's say like the majority of the people in Cuba is kind of poor in a way. You know what I mean? We live a decent kind of life, but we're poor. We're just thinking about what we're gonna eat the
yeah,
next day, and it's not like there's a big dream or something. Like you can have it, but it's kind of hard to get it. So anyway, at school, yes, they provide an instrument, but it was really bad quality.
yeah,
I remember my first trumpet was like one of those that you have to press the finger and bring it up with your almost like that. And then
yeah,
we use whatever we have, a little thin. It wasn't oil. It was more like almost like a kerosene or something like that. Like it smelled pretty bad. We use
Yeah.
it. We didn't have oil, valve oil or whatever. And anyway, but we learned with that, and whatever mouthpiece you can find. I was
Yeah.
playing all my life with the mouthpiece that I was given,
Yeah.
and it was no brand. It was I remember it was a like Alpha 8. That's
Yeah.
it, and it was a copy of Wiesenbach kind of thing.
Yeah.
I believe it was something like a seven Wiesenbach or something like that. But it was pretty. I mean, I was playing that for many years
Yeah.
until I realized, okay, there's something better up there. So I could afford. I was traveling a little bit, so I bought my better mouthpiece after that. And of course, getting old, you gotta keep changing and trying to find an easy way to play. But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
but you know what? In a way, that makes you work harder to
Yeah,
find.
that's what I'm getting at, and I want to make sure that people that aren't aware about
Yeah,
the culture of Cuba is that everything it's hard and it pushes you to work harder. Not
yeah.
having as much pushes you to work, and I think that's the
Yeah, yeah,
important thing.
you work pretty hard, of course, and then when you get the chance to get something easier, like to play a better instrument, you sound like $1,000,000 for sure. Like
Yeah,
I remember percussionists being practicing on top of a table or just a tree that is being cut, and they just sit down on that and bang bang that. You know what I mean? Like it's
yeah,
crazy. After
yeah.
that, they take any nice conga. It sounds like
Yeah,
like
and
a
I think,
piano.
growing up here in the United States, and I do a lot of teaching and worked with lots of students over the years. People always seem to find, and I'm not talking trash. I just noticed this. People find excuses not to do something. Where it's, from what I understand with you guys over there, when you're growing up, it's like you just do it. You don't do excuses. You
No,
just
no,
learn it
it's
and it
not.
goes from there.
Yeah, no, no, I'm not trying to show enough or anything, but there's many examples. One of them happened to me here in Canada. I remember I was working for Lona McQuaid, the music store around here. My wife as well. I was teaching. We were invited to a house, and this guy used to work as a manager there, I think. And he got a nice place. Like we have a big jam over there. We were playing some music. There's a piano. I forgot my trumpet at home. I didn't think about. So he got a trumpet hanging in there on the wall. And I just took it and I started playing. When I finished the tune, the guy said, "Oh man, you sound great. What trumpet is that?" And I say, "That's the trumpet you have in the wall." He said, "No, that was garbage.
Yeah,
That was a garbage trumpet in Lona McQuaid that they just threw away and he put it in the wall, as a ornament." I said,
yeah,
like, "What are you talking about? This worked perfectly." You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
so you can see a lot of people in Cuba, surviving with that, just playing with whatever they can, but making it sound great.
yeah.
You have to adapt. Of course, you can create some issues, whatever, but that easy to fix that like making excuses about, oh, I don't have a good instrument, so that's why I don't sound.
Right, 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 right.
That's not right.
Yeah, saxophone players, we always talk about reeds. Well, my reed's not good, so
No, there's many up there. You can buy some. If you're living in US or here, you got many chances to get a new one.
yeah, 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 yeah.
There, you have to do it. I'm pretty impressed with that. Some people here throw them the reed. I think in Cuba reeds can go for years.
Yeah.
Believe
You
me.
just
I don't
gotta
know how
you
they
gotta
do.
disinfect them.
They put it in water, cut it again, and make it new. I don't know, man, but they do it. They do it.
Yep, 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 yep. All right, well, let's go into when you first started working on recordings and stuff. I mean, obviously, we're going to talk about lots of stuff, but I want to kind of focus zero in on like the jazz component. Now, I know that you have a huge. We've talked about Freddie Hubbard. Every time I ask you, like, oh yeah, Freddie Hubbard. I mean, yes, of course, Freddie Hubbard.
Yes.
But who were some of the first trumpet jazz artists that you really got interested in and started checking
Well,
out?
for sure, I will lie to you if I don't say Arturo Sandoval,
Yeah,
because that was the guy that everybody was listening to in
yeah,
Cuba, right? And he was a monster. Of course, he was playing jazz in a way that a Latin, like a Cuban guy would do it, right? With the
right.
influence of Gillespie and all that, of course. And he got the concert and everything, but it sounded like a Latin guy, right? I never got exposed until later on that I started to listen to with some friends to Freddie Howard, or one of my favorite CDs that I remember from a school is the Freddie one with Woody Shaw.
Oh yeah, yeah,
That
yeah,
I think Eternal Triangle or something like that is called, right?
yeah. I'm
You
not.
got two.
Yeah,
You got two
yeah.
of them, but the first one, yeah, the
Yes.
one with Sandu on it.
Yep. Yeah.
That's, I transcribed some of those solos,
Yeah.
try to play it myself. Interesting about that, I didn't have it recorded, so I had to ask my neighbor to lend me the recorder, the cassette player, so I can
Yeah.
actually do it really quick and then bring it back to his house.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that was the first one, actually, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first. I'm at school. One of my teachers, who can play trumpet teacher who play really good piano,
Mm.
started to jam with us a bit and showing us some tunes. That was the first time we started learning. But as I say, improvising, yeah, we can call it's jazz. But I was improvising since that time, playing the Cuban music anyway.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And then from there, it took me to many places because I started working for producers over there. So I can, I started playing like hip hop, R&B, funk, mariachi, whatever. But excuse me, all this kind of music that was made in Cuba
Yeah. Yeah.
with
Yeah.
different producers, different projects, and stuff like big stuff coming. I got pretty funny stories about it. I don't know if you got planned to ask about it or anything, but
Yeah. Well, let's go right to it. Yeah. Let's talk
okay.
about it. Go
Well,
ahead.
this one is a really funny one that even happened in Canada again with another band over here. But this one is like, I've been recording there with many people. We did that CD that won a Grammy, La Rumba Soy Yo. It was a compilation of folkloric bands playing with a big band.
Yeah.
So it was an interesting project. But then somebody called me for a recording. I think it was Demetrio Muniz, one of the guys conducting the Buena Vista Social Club. But he didn't say anything. He just said, come to the studio. We're gonna record. So I went. I played whatever they put on the stand. We play, record. I made some solos in between. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Moved to Canada, and then I remember being playing in a theater, and the sound guy is playing this music. When I hear the music, I say, "That sounds like me." I think I did play that, but it
Yeah.
was somebody singing in English. So it can make a little confused, right? I said, "Oh, this guy, we play like the same," but
Yeah.
I think that's me. So anyway, and the story, we run into the guy to ask him, "Oh, what kind of music? What is that? What?" So it was a CD called Rhythms del Mundo. So it's YouTube, Sting, Coldplay, all these bands,
Yeah.
big in pop music,
Yeah.
that somebody took the original recording, bring it to Cuba to make Latin versions of it.
Yeah.
So they pay a producer to do that, and I was one of the guys playing it, but I didn't know, and I never met Coldplay or YouTube or Steen or anybody. I don't
Yeah.
even
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
that my name was gonna be on that.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you get paid for any of this work?
I
That's the
pay,
question.
they pay like $100 per each track. That's
Wow.
it. That's
Yeah.
it. And I was lucky to have that. You know what I mean, in Cuba.
Yeah.
But I
Yeah.
didn't
Yeah.
know. I didn't know that happened in Canada again another time with 5440. It's a legendary rock band over here, and they called me to play. Got no idea. Never heard of them. I'm not too familiar with rock music or anything. I've been learning over these years. Living here.
Yeah.
So anyway, so I play. All these guys with long hair show up. Blah blah blah. And then later on, I start playing with Matt Johnson, which is a drummer from the band. And then he said, "Yeah, you play with us." He's like, "What?" I didn't know. So bad, so bad. But anyway, it's music. It's music. Doesn't matter what it is. It's just music. And when I improvise, I think about, yes, what would be the concept to follow in the music
Yeah.
to make it sound better. I mean, say
Right.
something. Like I always say, music is like a language, and you got to learn. And there's different accents. It's
Yes.
like it's like speaking English in Australia or
Yeah.
anyway. That's
Yeah,
what.
no, no, no. It's very, very true. Very true.
Yeah,
And that's, I can't think the cool thing about, particularly, what we talk about jazz or your music, you go anywhere, and people that are studying and learn how to play, you can go in and play. You don't have to, uh, it works. It works.
oh
You don't
yeah,
have
well,
to,
you can play with charts and we can play without charts as well. You know what I mean? You listen, you gotta go, and it's pretty fun when you get that idea. If you can make it happen, it's pretty cool.
yeah,
That you show up at the studio and the producer says something about, okay, I want to sound like, I don't know, something from Miami or something from the 50s or something from the whatever. It sounds like Louis Armstrong, or play
Yeah.
like some high like Arturo Sandoval, or some play some fast. Or play, you know what I mean? If you were able to do it, that would be great.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's about concept, and you have to be able to do that. You have to listen to a lot of music, even the
Yes.
one that's happening now, that pretty cool music, but a lot of the stuff in the radio is not my favorite, but you still listen to it a bit,
Yeah.
to get
Yeah.
the what's happening,
Yes. Yes. Yes.
yeah.
Well, I'm gonna go back to your early days. So aside from being in school and learning a lot and playing on the regular, were there a lot of outlets for you to play with your friends and other musicians when you were younger?
To be honest, it was kind of prohibited in the school to play some kind of like out of whatever it's supposed to be. But we found a way, to sneak in there and play in some rooms like in the third floor over there, where the people couldn't find us. We
Yeah.
we still we still play some cool stuff. And then when you go outside, I was exposed to big band when I started playing with the big band in Tropicana. It's a big
Yeah.
big cabaret with probably like 300 people working in there between everybody, the stage and dancers and all that. So it was a big one, and that sound of big band still was happening at the time. I think
Yeah.
I would say it's a little harder to have it now in Cuba, but still at that point when I was growing up, there were a few big bands that you were exposed to. Of course, the approach is a little Latin, right? You
Yeah.
play some jazz, but it's just like a Latin side of it. For me, it was a cool experience to show up here and keep learning about it. I will have to say, for example, when I show up in Vancouver, my first big band experience was with the Hard Rubber Orchestra. It's with John Corshall, right? And lead trumpet player was the one that helped me the most. It was Paul Barron.
Oh
I
yeah.
don't know if you know him, but he's
Yeah.
amazing lead trumpet, but an amazing person as well. And
Yeah.
I remember him with love. It's my English was zero almost, so I was lost. They
Yeah.
called me because they heard me playing a bit, and they said, "Oh, yeah, you can do it." They put me in the chair, to improvise and all that. But every time they say something in the rehearsal, let's go from A to quarter, blah blah blah. I was like, "Whoa, we're going like what?" So Paul was the one, yeah, we're going there. So I
Yeah.
thank him all life,
Yeah.
I
Yeah. Yeah.
will be thankful for that. But I've been learning. Still, concept of playing jazz in a big band in this case, like playing laid back, or you know what I mean. Like Cuban
Yeah.
music, we always play on top of the beat right there. We're
Yeah.
not. So that's something that I had to learn when I show up here, of course.
I don't know. You seem pretty laid back to me, man. I mean, you're always
No, no,
pretty.
no. But yeah, to be honest, in music is it's hard for me to do that for sure.
Yeah.
We have to learn, but we've been doing it these last years in Victoria.
Yeah.
It's been great, and I was exposed. It's been probably like 6 or 7 years. I don't know, maybe since I moved here. I met this guy, Kelby Maner. He's
Yeah.
a drummer,
Yeah.
really, really great drummer with love of passion, and one of those drummers that I didn't know many of them, but they can make music with the drums only.
Yeah.
They improvise, and when they do something, it's just like great. You can hear it. They're not just going crazy. Just it's
Yeah.
music in them.
Yeah.
So he got a lot of great stuff going on, and he called me to play a tribute to the Jazz Messengers.
Yeah.
So I started to listen to all that more and more and more and more. Right. So I'm talking about different eras for sure. I remember. What is the name of the blue? Jesus, my English and my memory now. What is the name trumpet player in the Messengers? He was for a while.
Freddie Hubbard.
No, before that.
Kenny Dorham,
Kenny
Clifford
Dorham, but
Brown.
Blue Mitchell as well,
Oh,
right?
Blue Mitchell. Okay.
I
Yeah.
think he did, or maybe not. But anyway, listen to Blue Mitchell. That I was a discovery almost, like no long ago. It's amazing. I didn't know anything about him.
Yeah.
And I've been discovering more and more and more people like with a lot of I feel like the taste that they have is what I want. You know what I mean? I love that.
Yeah.
And I've been trying to copy that. Of course, every time I play some kind of these gigs like jazz,
Yeah.
traditional jazz kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I know.
Been learning. Yeah.
So you've originally moved from Cuba to Vancouver, BC, and then Victoria. And I remember when you moved to Victoria, the reason was to join the Navy, correct?
That's correct.
There,
Yeah.
and that was mostly because, I mean, at the time you were doing a lot of sideman work in Vancouver. You were still playing with the Afro-Cuban All-Stars and going all over the world.
Yeah.
But the decision to move to the Navy, that was because of why did you decide to
Well, you
do
know
that?
what? It's just you're getting old and you got a family. So I would say, playing music could be a tough job for some people, and it's unsteady. Sometimes you can have like great gig, like I was doing the Afro Cuban All Stars, but at some point I saw like it was slowing down a little bit, and I need some stability,
Yeah,
and I was getting old. I was doing that touring as well for many years before moving to Canada. So
yeah,
again, I was getting tired a little bit as well. Why not? So having two kids, I had to find a way, and I saw this advertisement in the music magazine, the AFM.
yeah,
Uh, the salary was great, and they offer pension, they offer, retirement, all that, like benefits and all that. So I took it.
yeah,
It
yeah,
took a little bit of thinking, because I actually did my military service in Cuba. It
yeah,
was 2 years and it was terrible. Compared to that, it was like I was making 23 Cuban pesos a
yeah,
month, which is $1 or less
yeah,
than $1 a month.
yeah,
So you can imagine that was pretty tough.
right?
So I said to myself, I'm never gonna do this again. But of course, the difference is huge.
Yeah,
So, and also, this big body, I had to show up at the basic training. It was like 15 weeks of doing exercises, and running around and learning military stuff, and how to become one of the regular forces
yeah,
people.
yeah,
And I did it. I finished that training, and since then I passed another training to be like a sergeant kind of thing.
yeah,
And I've been a petty officer second class in the Navy for 8 years now, I think.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
really
yeah, yeah,
enjoyed that because I also learning a lot of music with them in a
right?
different way. We could play concert band, so it's a lot of like a different repertoire on that. You know what I mean? And then
Yeah,
we got a big band as well, where we have great players. There's people like Roy Stye, Barry Sorensen, Steve McDonald on bass, Ross McDonald is another bass player like Ray.
yeah.
So it's been great. It's been great. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and you still, I mean, you're playing a lot, and outside of that, you still are flexible to go out and do other gigs and things too, right?
Yeah,
Correct?
yeah, man. If I ask them with time, they probably can give me some days to go. Like not long ago, I did a little thing with the symphony with a great musician here in Vancouver, Sal Ferreira. He's a Puerto Rican guy. He's been here forever, and he became vice president of the, I don't know how to say, but of the University of Vancouver.
Hmm.
So he's a well-known person over there, and he put together a project with Miles Black, Jody Prosnick, some other players in town.
Yeah.
So he called me to play with them. It was a great show with the symphony in Vancouver, right, for a couple of nights. So we spent like a week there. Then Navy, of course, was okay with that. We asked for the permits, and they give you a leave, and you go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
great. It's great.
Yeah. Well, and aside from so in the Navy, still doing a lot of sideman work and staying very, very active. You also are running your own groups, a couple groups.
Yeah, well, I'm doing. Sometimes I do some jazz over here as well. I put together a quintet and we go. There's a CD that I did back in the days, 2000, maybe I would say in 10 or something like that, but never came out. We
Yeah.
finished it at the Jazz Cellar. It was live. I brought people from the Afro Cuban All Stars.
Yeah.
Uh, Calixto Oviedo, who is living in Miami now, but legendary drummer. Papiosco, what we call it Papiosco, is like a nickname. He's in Toronto, Riveron on bass. So I brought all these guys that were doing the tour with the Afro Cubans. And
Yeah.
Gabrielito Hernandez is a piano player, amazing. It's like
Yeah.
compared to any, like Chucho, Gonzalo, all those guys. And they came, spent like 2 nights at the club. We played the show twice, and we did a little recording in the afternoon, and we put together some material there. It hasn't been released. It's just because all the reasons, admin and stuff like that. My wife was the one actually helping me with all that, but then she
Yeah.
got the second baby, and we got all busy. But sometimes, we're still doing that project, and I play the music from it.
Yeah.
So we present that.
Was
But
that with the recording? Was that with Corey Weeds? Is that the
we
Cellar
call
Live?
it, yeah, when it used to be the Jazz Cellar. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, we have to release that someday. Maybe when I'm getting older and older, like a tribute to I don't know, put something together. But yeah, but I play the music. One of the tunes that I play the most is the danzón that
Yeah.
I call it missing home. Yeah, people love it. People love it. Yeah, it's nice with the arrangement of Gabrielito. He put together a really nice arrangement of that.
Yeah.
And all this music was made in a tour. We were doing a tour all the United States, and I started writing all this music for
Yeah.
that. So
So
all original.
are most of these compositions like your
Yeah, yeah,
ideas?
yeah. Mostly, yeah. Mostly. Yeah, Gabriel did a couple of them, and I did the rest. And yeah, with the trio, it's just like a little bit of lacking of like salsa music in town over here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So people request me like, hey, come on, put something together. But it's hard to find a singer.
Yeah.
There's good singers, don't take me wrong.
Yeah.
But with the style that we do in Cuba music about improvising, you have to improvise, but melodically, and
Yeah.
also like lyrics, you have to improvise and make the crowd go and like following the energy and all that. So that kind of job is a little hard to find around.
Yeah.
You
No,
can
you're
find
saying
somebody.
it's hard to find like musicians that can play that in Victoria and Vancouver and that general
I
area. Is
would
that right?
say I would say with experience, you can find people that can do it,
Yeah.
but they maybe can read, they maybe can play a little bit of the patterns or whatever, but with the flexibility of creating the spot,
Yeah.
and make a big party. That's a little hard to find. So that's why I've
Yeah.
been doing my trio a little
Yeah.
more. I would say as a musician, I was exposed to that
Yeah.
with the great singers in Cuba, so I learned a little
Right.
bit from them, and
Yeah.
so that's what I'm trying to do. Just
Well, yeah, we talked the other day, and you said you're doing a little bit more singing these days. So you're
yeah,
singing with the group
I'm
now.
singing.
Yeah.
I'm singing like crazy. Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
becoming a singer. Basically, there's no choice. I have to do it. But it's kind of crazy because of that's the problem with music. Sometimes it's hard to find the money. People don't want to pay.
Yeah.
Even if they ask you to play somewhere, they offer some food or something. Okay, come on, this is a job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't pay your doctor to do a surgery with with the sandwich.
That's right.
Doesn't
Well,
work
you
that way.
could, but it's not going to go
It
well. It's not
doesn't
going to
it
go well.
doesn't work that way. So anyway, so yeah, with the trio is working fine. Cynthia is a great piano player. She's
So for people that don't know, Cynthia is your wife. She's
Cynthia
great.
Rodriguez
Yeah.
is my wife. We've been
Yeah.
married for 26 years, I think. She
Yeah.
came first to Canada with the all-female band playing salsa. Then she stayed, so she brought me here with her. After 3 years apart, we got together again.
Yeah.
And lucky enough to live here. My two kids were born in North Vancouver,
Yeah.
and now we are all here in Victoria. I'm happy. Um, she's playing the bass and piano at the same
Yeah.
time. We
Wow.
split the piano, it's electric piano. We split it, and then I got a conga player from Cienfuegos. It's a good friend, Hector Ramos. He's playing congas, but with cowbells playing cowbell with the foot and foot
Yeah.
cowbell. And then myself, I'm playing a widow and some jam block like a clave.
Yeah.
And singing, and at the same time, I put everything down and play a trumpet. And it's kind of crazy, but it's
Well,
working.
yeah, but the other thing too, I mean, maybe some people that have seen you perform know you also are a tremendous drummer, play great congas. Now, when did you start learning how to do that?
At the same time, I went to school. I started jamming with my friends over there. Um, to make a long story short story, that's what I wanted to be, a percussionist.
Yeah.
But when I show up at the school, the first school that I did the audition, as when I say audition, it's like you are like 10 years old, and they ask you to clap on time, sing, recognize if the sound is high or not. Like it's like almost like a
Yeah.
like a
Placement test, kind
it's
of.
like a test, yeah, to
Yeah.
see if you got the conditions, condition test or something like that.
Mhm.
And that first school was situated in a neighbor that it was a little bit for the let's say they don't want to say that they had classes in Cuba, but it was a high class. Let's say like the people who work in the government or musicians, already recognized or whatever. The kids of those people went to
Yeah.
this school.
Yeah.
It was in the better part of town.
Yeah.
And then they say in that class that I didn't have conditions to go and do music. and that was the chance to do percussion in there. So
Hmm.
I show up in another school close to my house, which is a different part of town, and of course they say yes, but they didn't have percussion. So the only instruments was clarinet, guitar, trumpet, or conducting choir.
Hmm.
It was just like that because it was a mixed school, mixed arts. So they have plastic arts and they have dance as well.
Yeah.
So it was a mix. So that's why they have only like that kind of instrument. So I say, okay, I take the trumpet for now, and maybe we can change later, But I never changed. So I
Yeah.
stay with the trumpet. But percussion was always my thing. So even in that school, that was elementary school for me, they have a guitar group. Like they play like I don't know 12, 20 guitars, whatever, students. And
Yeah.
I was the bongo player or the clave player. I always was, involved in some kind of groups.
Yeah.
But of course, guitar doesn't match the trumpet, but some percussion they need. So I was doing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially in a school that they didn't have any percussionists, right? But I
Sure.
was always key to play that. So in high school, keep going doing that, and then in college, what was the last thing that I did? There was percussion. Then I started just jamming like heavy with these persons, these friends,
Yeah.
playing some rumba, playing some, learning all kind of Yoruba stuff, like batas. And so I
Yeah.
learned all that. I mean, it's funny because here I can say that I'm a conga player, but in Cuba they won't let me, sitting anywhere. They say, get out of here, keep with the trumpet, like forget about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
here I can do it, it feels like great.
Well, did you ever have any like formal education or training with anybody on drums over there?
No, no, I
No.
just watch my friends and learn from them, and it's been there forever, man. Yeah,
Okay.
it's
Okay.
something like I grew up with it. I grew
Yeah.
up with it. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
Mhm.
Cool. Well, so when did you graduate from music school in Cuba? What year are
I
we
think it's
talking
in
about?
1993. I think if I
1993.
remember, that was the college. I
Okay.
didn't get to university because, to be honest, it's more focused in a classical train program.
Yeah.
And you die. There's no money on it.
Yeah.
You play with the symphony, yes, that's it. But other than that, it's probably hard for classical musicians to make a living. Harder than commercial players. We can
Yeah. Yeah.
can get
Yeah.
a little more opportunities to play different kind of music.
Yeah.
So it's same in Cuba. So I just decided to keep going and just start playing professionally and making money and travel and
Yeah. So what was the next step? I mean, after you were finished with
yeah.
school,
As I
what
say,
happened?
yeah, no, sorry to interrupt you. Yeah, as I say, I started with the septet. I did my first touring. I went to Venezuela. I spent probably like a month in Caracas and then Maracaibo. University there. It was like a cultural exchange
Yeah.
that we did. It was pretty cool. Um Amazing experience for me. Um, After that, I have to pass the 2 years of the military service is mandatory there.
Yeah.
And then before finish that, I we did a recording with the military band, with the concert band. But they called this trumpet player to reinforce the section,
Yeah.
and it was Guajiro Mirabal, Manuel Guajiro Mirabal, which is the trumpet player in the Buena Vista Social Club movie.
Okay.
So this older guy show up there. He was a good friend with the CEO of the band at the moment.
Yeah.
So he show up there and start playing with us. So I just asked him, hey man, is any chance that I can go and check you out in Tropicana? He was the first trumpet player. Oh no, not the first. He actually was playing second trumpet and improvising, but he was unbelievable, man.
Yeah.
60 years old man playing high double C's, and crazy stuff,
Yeah.
and improvising like nobody else. Super creative mind, like playing. Um, so anyway, he said, yeah, well, let's see. And he kind of recognized me from a video clip that was sounding on the media, on TV, no media, TV, at the moment in Cuba with the band that I was, when after I finished school. We did
Yeah.
a version of Cachita, that tune. Oh yeah, man, Cachita. Da, 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 da. Everybody knows that tune.
Yeah.
But we put some rap on it. So we put some
Yeah.
rap on it. So we kind of like twisted a bit, with some nice harmonies and stuff like that. So it was on the TV. There was a video clip playing. So he recognized me from there. Oh yeah, you're sounding great on that. Blah 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 blah. calm down. I'm gonna talk to your CEO and maybe he can let you go.
Yeah.
Exactly, that's what happened. So before finish my service, 6 months before finish, I started to sub in
Mm.
Tropicana. And it's
Yeah.
funny because you remember I told you I was making 23 Cuban pesos,
Yes.
$1 a month with
Yeah.
the service. In that, they pay me $2 a night. So I make double whatever I was making.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
happened is like they have six trumpet players. Two of them are my best friends still until today. That we went
Yeah.
to school together, and then one of them I met after. But one is Jaure Muniz, is a trumpet player who went to Berkeley in Boston. He's in Boston, living in Boston right now.
Yeah.
And the other one is Igor Rivas. He's in Curacao. So we three of us, and they were the trumpet players in the Afro-Cuban All Stars as
Okay.
well.
Okay.
So anyway, these
Bunch
guys
of
were
bad
playing.
dudes. Bunch of bad dudes.
Yeah. But these guys were playing as well with bands. So they
Yeah.
always need the night off, to get out. So it was a good job, Tropicana, but they have these
Yeah.
other bands like salsa bands. So they're always busy playing outside. So I was covering for them.
Yeah.
So basically 6 months before finishing my service, I was full time playing in Tropicana.
Yeah.
After that, they offered me the job, so I took it. So I stayed in Tropicana.
Yeah.
And again, I started playing with some salsa bands as well until got the opportunity through the Guajiro Mirabal. The Buena Vista Social Club is a thing that they made with all the players, all the people. If you see the
Right.
movie, I don't know if you see the documentary, they talk about how these people were forgotten about. Like Ibrahim Ferrer, the singer, was cleaning shoes,
Yeah.
and Ruben Gonzalez was almost like not playing, almost in his house only, kind of thing. But
Yeah.
they rescue all these people and put it
Yeah.
together and they make this crazy band. But after that, every singer in the band, only Ibrahim Ferrer kept the band going with all the people, but everybody else have their own band. So
Right.
that's why when Omara Portuondo, the lady in the movie, she decided to create her band, I was part of her band. So that's basically what I did for 7 years. Here and there, we play with everybody together again. Like we did a couple of trips to Mexico. I remember playing in a big auditorium there with the full Buena Vista.
Yeah.
That was with Guajiro Mirabal and all the people in the band. But normally, I will play with only like I was playing only with Omara Portuondo. But I got the chance to go all over the place, man, all over the
Yeah.
place without knowing that I was living in Canada. I was gonna live in Canada. I play the Orpheum and I play, in Victoria. I played the Jazz Alley with there
Yeah.
as well. We play all over the place, and I didn't know I was gonna be around.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, so okay. So when did the connection with Afro Cuban All Stars? How did that come about?
that's something that happened after. What
Yeah.
happened in the Buena Vista is Juan de Marcos Gonzalez is the dress player in the movie. That he's also the guy who runs Afro Cuban All Stars.
Okay. Okay.
But before that, he used to have a septet, same kind of band that I used to play when I got out of school. And
Yeah.
it was called Sierra Maestra. And this band was already famous, traveling all
Yeah.
over the world, doing great in Europe, US, everywhere.
Yeah.
At some point, Jesus Alemany, which is another trumpet player, like, it's kind of famous. He got his own project called Cubanismo. You probably
Yeah.
heard about this. I don't
Yep.
know.
Yep.
So Alemany got out of the band, and Juan de Masco was thinking about calling me to get in his band. But then I think I was in the service, so I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So after that, I started playing with Omara. Juan de Marcos, for respect, never called me to play with Afro Cuban. He said, "No, you are with Omara already. You're good. You know what I mean? I'm
Yeah.
not gonna touch you. You're fine." But then he got out of the country, like any of us. So he was
Yeah.
living in Mexico. So he decided in 2009 to make a band full of Cuban people, but living outside the country.
I see. I
So
see.
he called people from Sweden, Cuban people who was living in Sweden, Germany, US, everywhere. I was in
Yeah.
Canada. So he put together a band that, everybody was good friends. So that was a great opportunity to see my buddies again, after
Yes.
many years without playing with them, the two trumpet players that I was talking about.
Yeah.
So we did 7 years touring with that band. It was unbelievable. I mean, no
Yeah.
7. That one was like only like 2 or 3 years. 7 was
Yeah.
with Amara. Two or
Yeah.
3 years with this. 2009 to 2012, we finished. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm curious because I know you've got to share the stage with some of the greatest jazz musicians ever. You played with Michael Brecker, you played with Herbie Hancock. Was that all
That
through?
was part of it. Part of being with these two bands. You know,
Okay.
when we grew up in Tokyo Jazz Festival, it's one of the biggest.
Yeah.
Uh, Herbie Hancock was the MC of the night, and the guy running the whole thing, right? And
Yeah.
of course, Omara was playing, and they invite some of the people in the band to play with them as a jam at the end of the night. So it was a great experience, man. It was Danilo Perez and Herbie both playing piano.
Yeah.
It was Patitucci. It was Brian Blay,
Yeah.
Wayne Shorter, Michael Brecker, and Wallace Ronnie.
Yeah.
To be honest, you remember that I told you I'm not a jazz player, right? Imagine what I could say beside those guys. It's like
Yeah.
I have to tell you this story. It's kind of embarrassing, but I have to tell you. They were touring. When these people put a tour together, they put a band together. They do it for a year or a couple of years.
Right.
Promoting the
Right.
same CD or whatever. So they've been touring together already. They know what they're doing. So they start playing a Wayne Shorter tune. That it could be hard tune.
Yeah.
It could be something that not everybody knows. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not like a regular standard. But they knew because
It's not a blues and F, is what you're saying.
No. But they were doing it. They were doing it. So they're standing there and start playing. And I'm beside these guys. I say to my manager, well, what I'm doing here? You know what I mean? I don't know what I'm doing here. So they passed this info. My English was zero. So they passed this to Wayne Shorter. And Wayne Shorter came with a piece of paper, handwrite the tune.
Wow.
I don't know where that paper is.
Yeah.
You can imagine how ignorant I was about, the jazz music and all that, in a way. Because I could just, ask him to sign it or something. I don't know. Keep it. You know what I mean? Forget about it, man. It's like, oh my God.
Wait, so he just came out and wrote the music for you on the fly.
He just went, put the piece of paper, wrote the music for me, no problem. Put it in the stand, and then I start playing with them. That was unbelievable. And then we had a jam. There's some videos in YouTube. There's a jam that we put together. Descarga. We play Summertime, but as a rumba kind of thing.
Yeah.
And that's an amazing story that sometimes I had to tell people as well.
We got time. Tell it now.
No, what I'm saying is like, people start complaining or start saying like, okay, it's not easy to play Latin music or blah, 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 or the feel. And I always say, yes, it's music.
Yeah.
Music is music. That's why we have timings. We have, notes. So if we follow all that, yes, there's a feel, there's something that you add. But if you can play exactly what, you understand what you're doing, it should be fine. Yep. So this happened with, we're in Tokyo and everybody ready for a rehearsal, blah, blah, blah. Everybody on the stage, big jam. Danilo Perez came with this idea. Yeah, let's do Summertime as one call. Omara is going to sing. There's Wayne Shorter and myself are going to take the solos. And then the three percussionists from the Cuban band. So let's start with this tumbao. Okay, you listen to that. He asked Patitucci to play. Patitucci started playing, but it was a little funny, right?
Yeah.
You can see the tension coming up. Herbie Hancock working close by. Everybody was, what's going to happen here? This is going to go down. Anyway, Patitucci stop everybody and say, okay, where's the one? By the time we say pom pam 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 pim pom pim pam pam, that's it.
Yeah.
He played like anybody in Cuba will play that.
Yeah.
But it was just the way on the standing, right? Because you can do
right.
pa pa pa, you can do pa 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 pa, like another tempo. You don't know where the one is or where everything is.
Yeah.
That was unbelievable. What experience, what experience to be there. And I always explain to people, don't be afraid, It's like, music is music. You just need to understand. Some of them are a little more complicated, syncopated, whatever. But if you understand, there's the way to write it and, read it and put it there.
Yeah.
There's a lot of books now. It's easy, a lot easier,
Yeah.
I remember when I show up in Vancouver as well, I had my first rehearsal with a band called Rumba Calzada. It's a Latin jazz band with my friend Rafael Jerónimo. He's a Filipino guy who runs the band. And they start talking about the 2-3 clave and 3-2. And that's something that we don't talk about in Cuba.
Yeah,
It's
you
a
just
North
do it.
American. Yeah, it's a North American scene that I couldn't understand what they were talking about. Are we talking about the rumba clave or the guaguancó or the what are you talking about? And it's just the way they divide the clave in two, right? Two sections.
Right,
The first one,
right,
it's 2 bars, whatever.
right.
Anyway, but that was something new for me. I have to understand that. In Cuba, we just play it.
Yeah,
We feel it. We feel when it's right, when it's wrong. That's
yeah,
it.
yep. Well, at this point, I'm getting. I keep forgetting to do this in a lot of these videos. But if anybody has questions for Miguelito or myself, feel free to jump in and put them in the comments, and we'll do our best to get to them. If we don't get to them now today, in real time, we can do it after the fact in the comments. But yeah, let us know if you have any questions, and we'll be happy to help if we can. Yeah. So in the meantime, I'm just going to keep barraging Miguelito with questions here. So, Miguelito, your wife is a tremendous pianist. Where did she grow up in the same city as you? Where did you meet her, and how did you
She's
get?
from a different part of town. She's from Guanabacoa. It's a different town, a little farther from the downtown in the city, Havana. But at the end of the day, we finished in the same college. She's 3 years younger than me. So when I was in 4th year, I met her. She was getting in first year.
Yeah.
So since then, yeah, we know each other, and it took me like 2 tries, I think, to get the sí, señor. First time she said, no, forget about it. So then the second time, something happened, and we've been married since then. Yeah, she's classical trained, but then when I started in Tropicana, she actually got the chance to play in Tropicana as well for 4 years.
Yeah.
So that was a big experience for her to get all the tumbaos and all that. We got one of the best piano arranger kind of guy playing in Tropicana at the moment. He used to do music for the big band called Roberto Faz is the name of the singer, and they have beautiful music, all these boleros. But man, I can't explain how tasty and beautiful these guys was. So he was one of the mentor when Cynthia showed up there. His name is we call it Picayo. I can't remember exactly the name completely, but Picayo we all know from like Picayo we call. He passed away a few years back already, but it was a great experience. So I always find amazing how we can learn from the older people, people with experience.
Yeah.
How we play all this music, man. We play jazz. You know how old jazz is. It's kind of crazy. It's the same with Cuban music.
Sure.
Nothing better that learning this music from the people that actually made it first.
That's
You know what I
right.
mean? A long
That's
time
right.
ago. So I find this amazing. It amazes me all the time, and I got the chance to do that, and she did as well. Playing with all these guys from Buena Vista, man, it was an amazing experience, and we learned all the concept, the roots and everything of that kind of music. So I felt pretty lucky. Yeah.
So were you and Cynthia, you said she came to the United States first playing with an all-female group. Did you guys, aside from the Tropicana, were you guys doing any other playing in Cuba before she
not
left?
in Cuba. She was playing with this female band. So I helped them a bit, with some kind of like, say like tips and stuff like that, because I was already a little older.
Yeah.
I'm playing already with some bands, but no. In between, some of the lots of the girls in the band have also musicians, married or boyfriends or whatever. So we kind of helped the band a bit. It was that concept of macho in Cuba still at the moment, like it probably still happening more than in North America, right?
Yeah.
So let's say that the women's or the girls' bands were a little weak, we would say, you know what I mean, in Cuba.
Yeah.
So we try to help them to sound as good as we could sound as men. Let's say totally wrong concept. We learn through the years. Like here is totally different, but yeah, we tried to just help them and make it sound good. But it sound amazing actually. At the end of it was a great band.
So when you say she came to the United States first, she didn't emigrate here yet. Like you guys came together. She didn't move here first.
No. She moved here. What happened is that they came first. They came like 2003, I think it was, or finishing, or at the end of 2002, 2003. They came to do a little tour in Toronto.
Yeah.
Toronto. But what happened is that they kept going, getting more work and more work. The band was pretty good, so they kept booking. Then what happened is that if you go back to Cuba to do the paperwork again to get out of the country, it was harder than
Mm.
just staying. You know what I mean? At some point.
Yeah.
But also, if you don't go back in a year, or let's say 11 months and 29 days, you lose your resident in Cuba.
Mm.
So that was the point that they had to decide, okay, what are we gonna do? Are we
Yeah.
going back and take the chance to try to do all the paperwork again, or we just stay? And it was getting to that point that economy was even worse and worse and worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
So we talked about it. We didn't know how it was gonna happen. It was gonna be me first, or her first, or both, if we get the chance. But we
Yeah.
talked about it. We didn't have kids in Cuba because of that reason.
Yeah.
We didn't want to have that problem with there, because it could be like a problem to get out of there with when you have kids and all that.
Yeah.
So it was easy, just the two of us. So they at some point, they some person here in BC asked them to come and do a little tour around here. So of course they love it here, better than the snow in Toronto. Yeah, forget about it. So yeah, so they apply for landing immigrant, or refugee. And
Yeah.
because we were married, she applied for me as
Yes.
well. So for
Yeah.
me it was easy, to be honest. I stayed back because my father was sick with cancer, so we fight with that for 3 years, and then he passed away. So
Yeah.
it was the time, so I came. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, we're getting close to that time here. So, I always forget to do this other stuff too. So, number one, thank you everybody for watching. We're not done yet, but I want to thank certainly our sponsors. So that would be KNKX Radio, Ted Brown Music, Tacoma Creates, Titusville Cars, and Edward Jones Financial Consultant Rick Gray, and of course everyone that joins us every single week. We couldn't do this stuff without your help and support, and everybody that comes out to the concerts and watches our stuff online. Thank you for that. And so, Miguelito, I like to ask this of all of our guests. So here you are in 2022. You've played all over the world with some of the greatest minds, not only in jazz, but in music in general. If someone was coming to you and telling you that they wanted to become a musician, or was thinking about taking on a life as a musician, what are some things that you've found very, very helpful for yourself that you would impart on them and have them think about?
Well, I would say be prepared. Be prepared all the time. Don't think about, oh no, I got the chance to practice tomorrow or whatever. No, 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 no. Be prepared. You never know when the opportunity is gonna show.
Yeah.
And it's all about that. You can put yourself out there. You can work as hard as you want. As there's many ways to work right now. Putting yourself in YouTube or the social media or whatever. But if you see all these people that they're getting actually well known and all that, there's gotta be some quality on it. You know what I mean? So you
Yeah.
have to be prepared. And that's the case, I would say, Jacob Collier, Snacky Puppy, all those big bands, and stuff that is happening in the internet. Yes, yeah, they work that way, but they also work hard, in the other way, like practicing in a room, and getting the stuff together.
Yeah.
It's not just like the show. It'd be nice to as well know your instrument and play well and play some music. I would say that, that was my best take of all this all my life. You know what I mean? I try to be prepared all the time. You got the chance, go show up. Try to play as best as you can. And that was the way. I never put myself, actually. I never knew about social media or anything in my life. Everything is be just knowing people. Be nice to people, treat people the way you want to be treated.
Yeah.
Don't be a musician. I don't want to say about word over here, but don't be that guy.
Yeah.
Just be nice. Just be nice. Listen to everybody. Learn from everybody. Sometimes the musician that you may think that's not the best got something that you can get from him,
Yeah.
or from her, or from whatever it is. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
learn from everybody. Learn from all kind of music. Be open. Be nice. Be a good person. Karma is always there for you.
Oh yes. Oh
All
yes.
that good energy is always coming back to you. That's
Yep.
my thing, man. I think.
When you hire musicians, pay those musicians.
Why not? Why not? Respect. Respect. And if there's no money, maybe tell them before. You know what I mean? Why
Yeah.
not?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because hey, guys, this is a chance to play. you know, you think we want to do it, you want to do it, you know what I mean? But no promise anything you cannot do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't put yourself in that spot. But yeah, there's many things that can go wrong. But if you know, it's a good person, be a good person, be a good person. It's basically you can play as many notes as you want, but you're a bad person, nobody will call you
Yeah.
again. You
Very
know what I
true.
mean?
Very
Maybe you
true.
just play yourself and keep hiring different people. You know?
Yes.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for all of our viewers. If you enjoy the quality and the content of all the stuff that we're doing, again, the majority of the stuff we do throughout the year is 100% free and open to the public. So if you find value in that, you want to make a donation, you can do that via Venmo or PayPal, or all that information is at the beginning of this post here. We'll be doing a concert and broadcast tomorrow, Father's Day, with a great pianist here in the Seattle area, Ryan Burns. And we'll be doing an interview with him as well. Miguelito, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure to see you in chat. And hopefully, you know, we just talked about this. Hopefully we can get you down this way to do some performing. Hopefully this next year, if we can sort it out, we'd love to have you. So
That'd be
we'll
great. You know what I want to say before we go? Like, thank you, man. Thank you, and no, thank you all the work that you put it together. You know, it's I always admire that. You know that. No, yeah, for sure. That time that you take to put all this together, you know, and keep that all your students also in shape, and you know, playing, teaching, and doing all the stuff that you do. It's great. I admire that for sure. I'm a little lazy to make all that happen for sure, but you know,
no.
I'm here always for you. If you need me, for
Yeah.
sure, I'll be there.
Well, I think the big thing is I want to get more people down this way hearing you play live. That needs to happen. So we'll make it happen.
Good.
Oh, but also if people want to find out more about your band, they want to hire you or maybe lessons or things like that. How can
You can
people
check
get
it
in touch
out on
with you?
Facebook. I mean, there's a website, miguelitovaldes.com, but it's mostly like Facebook right now is the one that's working. You know, Miguelito Valdes. You can find me there.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
sounds
Awesome.
good.
All right. Thank you, Miguelito. We'll see you later.
All right, take it easy. Have a good one.
All right. You too.